Obviously, as we all know, Microsoft are constantly bringing out new features, are adapting and expanding things like Teams, especially Teams. There's a lot coming. And there's a few things that have come out recently or that are announced to be coming out that we at Computer World think are incredible features that we just wanted to highlight to you today. So I'm just going to whiz through them, she says. So the first one, Michelle stole my thunder, oh, there we go, is mesh avatars. So as you can see, and as Michelle said, they are characters that you can create, that you can create of yourself. You can give yourself your own outfit. You can make it look as much like you or as little like you as possible if you wish to. And they just allow you to engage with that meeting in a different format. Obviously, there are people who don't like having their camera on for a number of reasons. And it just allows them to integrate and sort of immerse themselves in the meeting in a new format as well. As you can see, they'll be used in things like Together Mode. So if anybody uses Together Mode as well, we can use them in there, or you can use them as your own individual one. And I think the nice bit about this is as well, it isn't in this meeting where everybody's an avatar. Not everybody has to be an avatar. It's really up to you what you want, but at least it gives you that opportunity to show yourself without actually having your camera on. So the first one is Mesh Avatars. The next one is Excel Live. So this is one of those features that came in 2022. If anybody has been using Teams for a while, we've had PowerPoint Live with Teams for a while now that allows you to share that PowerPoint directly within that Teams meeting rather than opening up that PowerPoint, sharing it, then sharing your screen and having to share that right screen. It's just not the best experience for you as a presenter, and it's also not the best experience for your people that are watching your presentation. So the great bit is, we've got PowerPoint Live, but we now have Excel Live as well. So Excel Live will allow you to share an Excel document directly within that Teams meeting, and you will all be able to come together to edit that document. You'll be able to see what cells people are clicking on. So that collaborative co-authoring functionality that we're all getting pretty used to now as we've got shared files via OneDrive or SharePoint, what we're able to do is we're actually able to do that directly within a meeting as well now. So Excel Live is here. If you now click the share option on your sort of content tray within a Teams meeting, you should have Excel Live. And with a lot of these features, especially the ones that are out now, if you haven't already used them, what we recommend is just join a Teams meeting or join anything with somebody, of a friend, a colleague, anything like that, and just test them, see you later, and just test them all out with somebody that you're comfortable to test them out with, break them. It's, you know, better to break them with a friend of a colleague rather than on a customer meeting or anything like that. So Excel Live is a real game changer for people that use Excel a lot. So the next one is custom meeting branding, and I will just point out that there is a little bit on the bottom here that says Teams Premium. So there is a new sort of SKU coming to Teams that is called Teams Premium. So some of these are in the premium features, but are really good features that do make premium quite compelling as well. So custom meeting branding, if you are somebody that hosts team meetings with a lot of your clients, what you'll be able to do now with Teams Premium is customize that joining experience. So as you can see on the screen, they've got the custom branding behind that. You're able to edit that, you're able to amend that, and it just allows your customers to become more immersed in your branding in your organization when we're on here as well. And the next one, and I'm trying to get through these as quick as I can, is collaborative annotations. So we've had things like PowerPoint Live, we now got Excel Live, but what we're able to do with collaborative annotations is if I was to share my screen, and it wasn't a whiteboard, it wasn't Excel Live, it was just my screen, what we're able to do with collaborative annotations that's coming is everybody else can still edit that screen that I'm sharing if I share it as a collaborative annotation. So I could bring a web page up, for example. It's a web page that we're working on, it's still in draft format, but I just need some feedback. Do people like the images that are on it? Is the text right or not? And people can actually bring up things like post-it notes or images, or they can annotate it if they've got like an iPad and a pen with that as well, just on that web page that I've shared, and then we can save that collaborative annotation, and then we can refer back to it again. So it's really just opening up the opportunity of what we can share, what we can be collaborative with our meetings, rather than just keeping it to very specific things or having to open up a whiteboard and then sharing it in a whiteboard. It's becoming a lot more inclusive for all of your content that you want to share. Another Teams Premium feature then is Intelligent Recap. So what we'll have with Intelligent Recap is after a meeting, at the moment you get things like the meeting recording, the attendee list, the transcription if you've turned that on and whatnot as well. But now what we get with Teams Premium is we get the AI-generated tasks. So if I was in a meeting and I said, oh, that's great, Anthony, can you book a meeting for 2 weeks' time for us to review this? In the Intelligent Recap, it will come up assigning a task to Anthony to say, book meeting in 2 weeks' time for recap. Again, we can take that, if anyone was in this session earlier, pop that into Planner, because I love a good planner, and it just makes that whole process of taking stuff from a meeting into a place that we can all track, we can all do as well. Auto-generated chapters, so if you had a 2-hour meeting and you had different areas of the business that you were talking about or different elements, it would automatically put those transcriptions, those tasks, those actions, all of that into those chapters for you. So if anyone were to have missed that meeting, what they can then do is they can come on to the Intelligent Recap and they can see it section by section. So it makes it a lot easier for them to consume after the meeting as well. We get personalized time markers and transcription search. I believe the transcript search is already there if you have a look. At least it is in there in Stream if you have your recordings in Stream. But if it isn't in there already, it is coming with Intelligent Recap as well. And then here's a quick little video that allows you to see that. So you can see we've got some suggestions of some of the follow-up tasks. We've got the meeting notes and then the attendees as well. So the next one, for anyone that was here when I spoke about bookings earlier, what Teams and Microsoft are doing is they are bringing Microsoft Teams and bookings together. They are integrating them, and this is potentially one of my favorite features. So it allows you to bring virtual appointments to Teams. So the way that this is different is if you send out a virtual appointment, and the example they gave was at a virtual doctor's surgery. So you're an online doctor, you send out an appointment, it sends out a Teams meeting, it has all the custom branding, but the difference that you also get that you don't get with bookings is you can send SMS reminders. So you can say you've got an appointment booked at 12 o'clock tomorrow with Dr. Warren. God, that would never happen. And it will remind you that way. And then the great bit about it as well is you go through the process, but not only as an attendee do you get those extra reminders like the SMS reminder, like here, but also as the host, as the doctor, you also get this dashboard which shows you which meetings are there, which appointments are going on, whether they're with you or whether they're with one of your colleagues. And it also shows you your waiting room. So I might see that Mike has been in the waiting room for 5 minutes, but actually his appointment doesn't start for another 20 minutes. Whereas Anthony's been in the room for 1 minute, but his appointment was meant to start 5 minutes ago. I can see that into that detail, and then I can start Anthony's meeting before I start Mike's. And it just allows me to monitor that waiting list, that list of people who's there, and I can do that in a lot more detail. And it allows you to just join them. And it gives you things like status and stuff like that as well. So if they are in a meeting with somebody else, if I was running late and my doctor colleague jumped on it for me, it would show that they'd already started the meeting. So I think virtual appointments for people that do manage a number of different appointments is going to be a real game changer within Microsoft Teams as well. And then afterwards, you get this lovely dashboard, because everyone loves a dashboard to see how many meetings they did in a day and how productive they were. So you get a nice dashboard for it as well. This is just a really simple one, but there's something called Microsoft Places coming to Microsoft Teams, and part of that is integrating, Microsoft Places is coming to Microsoft, and part of that is coming to Microsoft Teams. So what you'll be able to do next to where you set your status, you'll also be able to set it to say, I'm in the office, or I'm working remote or anything like that. So again, it's just that nice thing that if I'm sat in the office and I don't know that Anthony's in, but he has his status set to he's in the office, I can actually just go and find him rather than sending him a Teams message. It's a lot more personal, probably going to be more innovative if we're together in a room, as Jen was talking about earlier, and just allows me to see who's there, not only for myself to make sure I know where I am, but for other people to know where I am as well. I spoke about this one earlier, scheduling chat messages to delay send so that you don't disrupt people. Already in there, all you need to do is right-click the send button in Teams, and then you get the option as to when you want to delay the send to. So already there, and one that we're already using at Computerwell quite a lot. Michelle stole my thunder again. We're speaking about video clips, so the fact that you now have a video button, you can record a quick message, send that via Teams chat. Again, it's just a lot more personal, allows you to interact in a different way rather than just a chat message, which can sometimes be misconstrued because you don't get the whole emotion with a Teams chat message. If I said, give me a call, probably comes across quite aggressive, whereas if I sent Anthony a quick message that says, hey Anthony, I really just need to talk to you about the event we've got coming up. Can you give me a call when you get 5 minutes? He's probably not going to worry as much. He's probably going to call me a lot sooner because he's not terrified of me as well. So video clip is another one that is there and is a really nice one as well to use. And I'm not sure if anybody's heard, but there is a whole new channel experience coming to Microsoft Teams and channels. Traditionally, we're used to Teams having the post button at the bottom and your latest post at the bottom of your screen. Flipped on its head. Now it's going to be more like Facebook, LinkedIn, all of that, where the post bar is at the top of your screen and your latest posts are at the top of the timeline, and as you scroll down, they get older. If I'm honest, I think it's going to be a real change for people. I think it's going to be something that people are going to have to try and adapt. It's not going to become natural to them. But the more we talk about it now, the more we tell people that it's coming, the less of a shock it will be when it does come. So that is coming, and I believe that's coming quite soon. Michelle was showing me his that he's been using for 6+ months already in Microsoft, and they tend to only keep it sort of in preview for 6 months or so. So I imagine that was coming soon. But there is reason behind it. We're all used to using the Facebook, LinkedIn algorithm and all of that, so it just makes sense, really. I don't want to click it again because yeah, there we go. And this is another one that I love, and I'm really missing, considering I'm not in a Teams meeting, because it's already here, is Live Speaker Coach. So as standard, my default is when I have a Teams meeting, Live Speaker Coach automatically turns on for me as an individual every time that I am in a Teams meeting. You don't have to have it as default on all the time. You can choose when you have it on. But what it does is when you are presenting, it will come up with live suggestions as to things you may want to tweak in what you're doing. So if I was to stand here and say, and it has live, it would come up and say, stop saying and it would say that I'm using a filler word too much. I can also start talking really quickly. If someone's nervous, they tend to talk quite quick, and it will come with a recommendation of slow down, or if they're talking too slow, it'll tell them to speed up. So you can have these live recommendations, and then afterwards you also get a nice little summary of what you did. And actually, I find this summary really interesting because I do use quite a lot of repetitive language I'm not aware I'm using, but now that it's flagging it to me, I can start making those changes and hopefully developing better presenting habits. So Live Speaker Coach should be in Teams already for you. I just recommend having a go, seeing if it works for you. It's not going to work for everybody, but it is quite interesting to have it on there. So they were the now I've just forgotten what I was going to say. They were the features that we wanted to go through today. The only thing I'd say is there is so much coming to Teams, there is so much coming to Microsoft 365, new applications, new features, all of that, that it is always hard to keep up to date with what's happening. So the key things to do on how to keep up to date, first one is just take a look at the roadmap. Check out what is coming with Microsoft 365, Microsoft Teams. At that point, it's not so much of a shock when it does come in place. And also, we have Adopt 365, which is our own learning and development platform and training platform, which has a whole host of Microsoft 365 training videos, posts, all of that on there. So if anybody wants a demonstration of Adopt 365 or wants to hear about Adopt 365 in more detail, to know how you can keep your users up to date or yourselves, head over to the Microsoft 365 stand and they'll be happy to give you some more details.